Exercise number 10. Questions with how. Questions with how.
Page 96. Exercise 10. Grammar focus. Questions with how.
How far is New Zealand from Australia?
It's about 2,000 kilometers, 1,200 miles.
How big is Singapore?
It's 648 square kilometers, 250 square miles. How high is Mount Cook?
It's 3,740 meters high, 12,250 feet.
How deep is the Grand Canyon?
It's about 1,900 meters deep, 6,250 feet. How long is the Mississippi River?
It's about 5,970 kilometers long, 3,710 miles. How hot is Auckland in the summer?
It gets up to about 23 degrees Celsius, 74 degrees Fahrenheit. How cold is it in the winter?
It goes down to about 10 degrees Celsius, 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
Questions with how. How far is New Zealand from Australia? It's about 2,000 kilometers, 1,200 miles. How far? I use how far to ask about the distance. How far? Distance. How big is Singapore? It's 648 square kilometers, 250 square miles. How big? How big? Surface. I ask about the surface. How high is Mount Cook? It's 3,740 meters high. Meters. American meters. T sub D. 12,250 feet. How deep is the Grand Canyon? How deep is the Grand Canyon? It's about 1,900 meters deep. Meters. 6,250 feet. How long is the Mississippi River? It's about 5,970 kilometers long. 3,710 miles. So, how high? You ask about height. Go up. How deep? Depths. Go down. How long? Length. Like how long is the Mississippi River? How hot is Auckland in the summer? How hot? The temperature in the summer. It gets up to about 23 Celsius, 74 Fahrenheit. How cold? How cold is it in the winter? How cold? How cold is it in the winter? How cold? Temperature. It goes down to about 10 Celsius, 50 Fahrenheit. Questions with how. Questions with how. Questions with how. A and B. A question, B answer. Ahmed and Ibrahim. How big is Egypt? How big is Egypt? It's about 1 million square kilometers. Kilometers? T sub D. Kilometers. How long is the Nile? How long is the Nile? It's about 6,670 kilometers long. How long? 6,670 kilometers long. How old are you? I am 40 years old. How old? 40. 40 years old. How far is Cairo from Alex? It's about 250 kilometers. It's about 250 kilometers. How far? 250 kilometers. How big? 1 million square kilometers. How big? I ask for surface, the surface of land. How long? 6,670 kilometers long. For length, how long? I ask about length. How old? How old are you? 40 years old. How old? Age. How far? How far is Cairo from Alex? How far? 250 kilometers. Distance. I ask about distance. I ask about the distance. How big? Surface. How long? Length. How old? Age. How far? Distance. A and B. How big is Egypt? It's about 1 million square kilometers. So here, how big? How big? Surface. I use how big to ask about surface. How long is the Nile? It's about 6,670 kilometers long. How long? Length. Length, G silent. How old are you? I'm 40 years old. How old are you? 40 years old. How old? Age. I ask about age. How far? How far is Cairo from Alex? It's about 250 kilometers. This is the distance between Cairo and Alexandria and Alex. How far? Distance. How hot is Cairo in the summer? It gets up to 30 Celsius. 30 Celsius. American 30 Celsius. I ask here about the temperature and the weather. The temperature of the weather. How cold is Cairo in the winter? It goes down to about 10 Celsius. Celsius, 10 Celsius. How cold? 10 Celsius. How cold is Cairo in the winter? 10 Celsius. Temperature. How cold? The temperature of the weather. Again, how big? Surface. How long? Length. How old? Age. How far? Distance. How hot? Temperature. How cold? Temperature. Questions with how, adjective, how far, how big, how high, how deep, how long, how hot, how cold. How, adjective, is, are, subject. Singular subject, is. Plural subject, 2, 3, 4, are. Answer, it's. Be, it's. Plural, they are. Most of time, it's. A. Write the questions to these answers. Write the question to these answers and practice with a partner. In this question, you write how high, how far, how big, how long, how hot, how cold. How plus adjective. Okay? Then 1 minute you will check your answers. Angel Falls is 979 meters high. Angel Falls is 979 meters high, 3,212 feet high. In the answer high questions, high. How high? How high the angel falls? How high the angel falls? So it falls, water falls. How high the angel falls? 2. A. Question. B. California. California, Cali. Americans, they say Cali for California. Cali, California is about 970 square kilometers. That's 155,973 square miles. So California, Cali is about 403,970 square kilometers. Kilometers, T soft D. The question here, I talk about what? The surface. The surface of the land of Cali, of California. The question, how big is California? How big is Cali? How big is California? 3. A question. 3. A question. B. The Nile is 6,670 kilometers long. The Nile is 6,670 kilometers long, 4,145 miles long. The question I talk about length, long. How long is the Nile? How long is the Nile? 4. Washington DC gets up to about 32 Celsius. American 32 Celsius. In the summer, 90 Fahrenheit. 32 Celsius, 90 Fahrenheit. Here we talk about what? Temperature goes up. This is hot. How hot? How hot is Washington DC? How hot is Washington DC in the summer? How hot is Washington in the summer? Washington DC gets up to about 32 Celsius in the summer. Exercise number 10B. Group work. Think of 5 questions with how about places in your country or other countries you know. Ask and answer your questions in groups. So here in this question, you try to make a question with how. Like, how far is Cairo from Alexandria? How far is Cairo from Aswan? How hot is Aswan in the summer? How hot is Aswan in the winter? How long is the Nile in Egypt? How big? How big is Alexandria? How big is Cairo?